4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome into MASN All Access from the MASN Newsroom. I'm your host, Paul Mancano. Thank you so much for tuning in. In just a bit, we're going to have MASN broadcaster Ben McDonald on to talk about his nephew, Max Sceroler, who was recently taken by the Orioles in the Rule 5 draft. But first, manager Brandon Hyde met with the media yesterday, virtually, of course. It was the first time we'd spoken to him since the end of the 2020 regular season back at the end of September. So naturally, there were plenty of questions facing Hyde. The first was about the departures of Jose Iglesias, Hanser Alberto, and Renato Nunez. And Brandon Hyde was honest about what the Orioles are losing in all three of those players.
Yeah, we were losing some good players. And this is a little bit part of where we are as an organization and where we are as a team. But I have confidence in our guys that we're going to replace them, and we'll feel really good about the young players that we have coming through our system, as well as the guys that we already have here. So tough to lose Iggy and Nooney because they were a huge part of our offense and a huge part of our club. But it's a next man up mentality, and we're going to have our young players, give them an opportunity to play, and I think that we have some guys that are ready for the challenge. What Iggy brought last year from a veteran leadership standpoint, he had a great season offensively. We'd love to see him play more defensively. Just his leg wasn't going to allow him to do that. But the mentorship that he brought to our young players in our clubhouse was huge. Players really liked him. He was from where he came from. When I saw him back in 2009 to the adult and the man he is now is special and a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for me to watch. Alberto, same way. The infectious energy that he had, the way he plays the game, the way he comes to play every day. It was a pleasure to manage him the last couple of years. And then Nooney, really with what he brought offensively, the power threat at the plate every single at bat, and the ability to drive the ball out of the ballpark, to take good at bats against good pitching that we face. Those are going to be big losses. But I feel confident in our front office and how they're constructing our roster. I feel good about the young players that are going to get more at bats because of losing some of these guys. I think we're moving forward with a younger club that we're excited about the talent level that we have guys coming through our system with.
Well, we started to see glimpses of the future in 2020 with the debuts of Ryan Mountcastle, Dean Kramer, Keegan Aiken, and more. Those debuts and the promise of what's to come are enough to get Brandon Hyde excited.
Well, I thought we made a lot of progress last year. Even though it was a shortened season and we played, the games played was cut dramatically. I did feel like we made big strides as an organization, big strides as a major league club in a lot of areas. We got some of our young players to the big leagues, especially that last half of the 60-game season. You started seeing some guys that sort of are coming through our system. That's exciting to get some youth or guys that we like a lot with the Mountcastles, Dean Kramers, Aikens, et cetera. As well as, we saw guys really continue to improve from the year before. Tony Santander, a lot of our guys in our bullpen. So I think that we just got to continue to keep getting better. This next year is more of that, of giving more guys opportunity, continue to get our young players better, and really creating a core group of players to compete in the American League East going forward.
Now we're joined on MASN All Access by former Oriole, current MASN broadcaster Ben McDonald, and also uncle of recent Rule 5 pick by the Baltimore Orioles, Max Sceroler, and that's going to be what we're talking about today. But first off, Ben, how you doing? How has your off season been so far?
It's been great. I'm doing what I like to do, which is a lot of hunting and fishing. Spend a lot of time in the outdoors this time of the year. And like everybody, our family has battled COVID. I think everybody in my family, my wife, my two kids, my sister, her kids, my mom and dad have all had it. I've been the lucky one. knock on wood right now that hadn't had it, or maybe I did have it and didn't know it. Who knows? But we're like a lot of families across the country, and we're just battling and dealing with it the best we can. And it hadn't been the same holiday season, and it won't be because of everything that's going on. But look, it is what it is. 2020 has been a struggle for a lot of people. It's been a tough time. It continues to be that, but I'm looking forward, like everybody, to 2021.
Absolutely. We certainly wish your family a speedy recovery. Hope that 2021 brings us all better luck and better health as well. Let's talk about your nephew, recent Rule 5 draft pick. Of course, you said in an article recently with Rock Abaco that you thought there was a chance that he could get picked. You heard some teams might have been interested in his services. What was your knowledge of the Rule 5 draft and of his chances of getting picked this year before the actual draft last week?
Well, I just kind of through the grapevine that Mac had performed well in 2019. There were some teams out there that they were interested in him because they liked the analytic side of him. They liked the body type, the stuff, and that he could sit at the top of some people's boards and have an opportunity to move to a different organization. And we were lucky, Mac was lucky, and the Orioles took him, and they thought enough about him to take him. And so we're just super excited about it. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything for sure was going to happen. I just knew that he had an opportunity to move forward, and he wanted to. Of course, he was hoping it would happen. It did. And so it brings back a lot of memories for our family. First ballpark he ever went to was Camden Yards as a baby. Saw me pitch there as a baby. He's got a million pictures of Oriole caps on with my daughter, who's about the same age. And so mom and dad have went in the attic and got all the old Oriole stuff out from the early and mid 90s, and they got their hats and their stuff on right now. So it's an exciting time in our family for sure. We're excited about it. Now, like I told Mac the other day, the ball's in his court now. This is a wonderful opportunity with a wonderful organization that is rebuilding, that has given a lot of kids some opportunities to go out and perform. And they thought enough of you to take you. Now it's up to you to take the next step and go out and perform.
Yeah. Could you give us a scouting report on your nephew that you've probably seen him much closer than a lot of scouts themselves? So what does he bring to the table, and what could he bring to the Orioles organization?
Well, first of all, Mac was a late bloomer, and it's a great story for a lot of kids out there that are in high school. Didn't even make the high school baseball team as a sophomore in high school. Pitched very little as a junior. Really started to bloom a little bit as a senior, but wasn't a big prospect. Ended up going to a mid-major school in Southeastern where he became freshman All-American, got into the rotation as a sophomore, and then really got on a lot of people's draft boards as a junior when he started to really bloom and the velo picked up. And the good thing about Mac is he knew how to pitch and he could control his stuff, and then all of a sudden the velocity started to tick up. His analytical numbers are very good, which I think you've heard Mike Elias say. The vertical break on the fastball is good. It's not an overpowering fastball from a standpoint of an upper 90s type fastball, but it's big league average. It's 93, 94, and he'll bounce a 5 or 6 occasionally. But where Max separates from a lot of younger pitchers that have only pitched at the A-ball level is 2 different breaking balls that he really commands well, and a swing and miss changeup as well. So he really knows how to pitch. In other words, he can control it. I think that's evident on his ERA and his whip that you'll go back and look at his minor league career. So wins and losses aren't great, but we know we don't put a whole lot of emphasis on that at the minor league system. But I think it's some stuff that Mike Elias and the front office of the Orioles really thought a lot of, and I think it compares very well to some of the pitchers that had some success last year at the big league level. So we'll see what happens. I know he's excited about going to his first big league camp. It's going to be a struggle, as we know, to go from A-ball to the big leagues. But the analytical side of it, and talking to Sig Meidel a little bit over the time, he thinks pitchers can make those kinds of jumps. And the good news for Mac is, I think with the Orioles, and we all know it, Paul, is that, it's going to be a revolving door in some aspects with the pitching staff again this year. And I think a lot of kids will get some opportunities.
You're familiar with making a big jump to the big leagues in a short amount of time. Could you give him any advice on how to do that? Some maybe things to keep in mind?
Well, I just told him, look, it's not going to be easy, and we know it's not easy. And when you go from A-ball like I did to the big leagues, or pretty much right out of college to the big leagues, it can be a shock. But the good news for Mac is he understands pro ball a little bit. He's been in a minor league system with the Reds for 3 or 4 years now. He kind of knows a little bit what it's about to be a professional, which I didn't have that luxury. I was in the big leagues 2 weeks after I signed and really didn't know what I was getting into, and I had to learn on the job. It'll be a learning experience for Mac, too. And I just told him, look, You got to go be yourself, but you got to act like you belong, and you got to go out and you got to outwork everybody if you want to stick in the big leagues. And, and I'm not trying to put any pressure on him, but I was like, this is almost a second chance for you, Mac. And I said, this is an opportunity. You can get buried like a lot of kids do in an organization, and you were getting covered up a little bit. Now you're not going to get covered up anymore. You may have an opportunity to stick at the big league level, and it's going to be what you make out of it. I don't want to put any extra pressure on you, but what I'm telling you is be prepared when you get there in spring training. Be prepared to open eyes right away and take it as it comes, act like you belong, and go out there and do what you do, son. Go out and pitch and have fun.
And besides what he brings on the field, do you feel like he has the ability off the field and the character and the intuitiveness to be able to make it at the big league level, having seen him grow up and turn into a professional baseball player?
I think so. Look, he's a really, really cool kid. He's a nice kid. I call him a kid. He's 24, 25 years old, but, he just recently graduated from college. He's got his head on his shoulders a little bit. He's engaged right now. So I think he's very ultra focused on his career right now, where he wants to go and what he brings to the table. And he understands where he is in his career right now. And so I think all those things are adding up to him taking it very seriously like he always has, but even more serious because he understands the magnitude of this opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to get your perspective, and nobody, I don't think any scout that we could have talked to, Mike Elias, anybody could have given us the in-depth knowledge and information that you just did. So thank you so much for providing your insight on your nephew, and hopefully we'll be able to see you in a couple months down in Sarasota in spring training.
Paul, I've got my fingers crossed, man. I hope this thing goes like it's supposed to go. I want to get back to Birdland. I want to get back up there, and I want to get back to Sarasota and have a normal year like everybody else.
Can't agree more. Thanks again for hopping on, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah, man. Look forward to it.
Be sure to listen to the MASN All Access podcast. If you like MASN All Access, you can get it in podcast form. Myself and Brendan Mortensen are your two hosts. Our most recent episode, we discuss the so-called winter meetings and break down the two Orioles Rule 5 draft picks from last Thursday's Rule 5 draft. Catch the podcast on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Watch it on YouTube. Watch it on Facebook. Anywhere you get your podcasts, you can get the MASN All Access podcast. That's it for our show today. Thanks to Brendan Mortensen and Hannah Broder behind the scenes. I'm Paul Mancano. Happy holidays. We are not yet done for 2020. We will be back with a podcast on Thursday and then another one next week. In the meantime, we'll see you later.